What is up, you guys? Teller checking in for the recap of UFC Vegas 87. It was another profitable night, but it wasn't any ordinary profitable night for the Teller here. We got to talk about one of the plays that I targeted. It really had me excited this past weekend. It was actually the biggest underdog play that I've ever targeted and hit as far as an official play goes, right? You guys understand that we got all kind of bets going on every single day. I mean, come on, let's be real. You guys know I'm targeting all types of bets on and throughout all different kinds of sports, and I've obviously targeted higher than a plus 500 or plus 550 underdog. Caught this play as high as plus 550, which we'll be talking about in a minute. But as far as an official play goes, a unit system, my unit system right now, I'm working off a $500 unit system. So I had one unit on this play. That's a good amount of money on a big underdog like that. So it was a nice hit. But most importantly, everybody that was rolling with me on that pick, everybody that got the pick sent out to them on Monday prior to the card taking place, you guys all locked that in and you guys cashed that with me. So that felt good. All right, guys. As you see, we got the whole UFC 299 setup going here. We already have that video recorded and uploaded to the channel. I have a lot of units to work with for UFC 299, and I'm going to be really attacking this card. All right, I'm coming off 3 profitable events in a row where we profited significantly. So I got a lot of units to work with. All right, guys. So I want to tell you the 3 bets that I targeted. I had 3 official plays locked in for this card. And the first fight we're going to talk about was the one L that I took on this card. I did have a 4-unit loss on Shamil Gaziev, which I was a little surprised how the fight played out. I thought that Gaziev would have had a lot more success with his grappling throughout the fight. I was a little wary being the fact that we don't have a long track record of what Gaziev's about, but he actually had some respectable wins even before coming in and fighting under the UFC banner, and I had some trust in him. He's an older fighter. I thought he was more of a mature fighter, and you saw how that fight went. And Jairzinho Rosenstrm looked great in there. Once Rosenstrm was able to stuff those takedowns, we knew the fight was over, and Rosenstrm was really putting it on him, completely outstriking him, landing 140 total strikes to Gaziev's 27 total strikes. Gaziev did have that one takedown, had 4 minutes and 32 seconds of control time. But like I said, once he couldn't get those takedowns, we knew which way the fight was going. And then Gaziev saying he can't see, he wanted out of there. He was getting bloodied up. And the fight I want to see next for Rosenstrm is Derek Lewis, right? I mean, isn't that a fight that makes a lot of sense? Throw the Black Beast in there with Jairzinho Rosenstrm. I think that's a fight that makes all the sense in the world. 2 big hitters. And Rosenstrm, if he seems to deliver, he's a solid gatekeeper. He seems to deliver against those guys that are on the fringe of really making a big name for themselves, right? I mean, Rosenstrm loses to the big names, but those guys that are really trying to make a name for themselves in the game, Rosenstrm can come in there and he can handle business there. So that was the lone loss we took on the card. In the co-main event, Vitor Petrino takes out Tyson Pedro. Not as exciting of a fight as I thought it was going to be. This was, in fact, one of the legs of a 2-team parlay that I had. I had a 5-unit parlay on Petrino with another leg that we'll be talking about here in a second. And I caught Petrino at minus 300 flat. And, it played out closer than I thought it would have, but gets the job done. And I felt fine taking him there at a minus 300 line. I felt confident he was going to go out there and get the job done. I thought he could even have got the knockout, but we saw that he could be a little bit more patient, and he'll bounce back with some big performances moving forward. I have no question about that. And the next leg that I had was, in fact, the next fight was Muhammad Makv, which I got at minus 310 odds, which is the smallest favorite that Makv has ever been fighting in the UFC. This was another fight that didn't really play out as dominant maybe as I would have liked for what I paid per the odds, but Muhammad Makv does get the job done, takes 2 of the 3 rounds, digs deep in that 3rd round, dropped the 2nd round there to Alex Perez. But, I'm high on Makv. He's going to look better and better. He's so young, and he has a lot of time to continue to groom out. So now let me not forget to do some matchmaking for my 2-team parlay winners there. Vitor Petrino, I would like to see him take on Azamat Murzakanov. I think that's a fun fight. Both guys heavy hitters, and I think that Murzakanov will bring that energy back out of Petrino. I think that fight will actually play out more entertainingly than this Pedro fight just played out. And the winner of that fight would really have some buzz behind them. For Muhammad Makv, I would like to see him take on Brandon Moreno. You take a look at the top of the flyweight division. That's a fight that makes a lot of sense. I've seen some buzz about this fight online, and I think it makes sense. I have Pantoja taking on Manil Cape. That's the fight that makes sense to me for the next title fight. I think that Brandon Royval needs another victory. I want to see Royval versus Amir Albalzi. And then when you take a look at the rest of the division, I just think that Makv versus Brandon Moreno really makes a lot of sense. I would love to see the youngster tested against a former champion. So you guys let me know what you think about that matchup there. Umar Nurmagomedov pretty much dominates Begzat, the newcomer there, and looks good. And we know how good Umar is, man. Umar is an absolute stud. Needs to be tested against higher caliber opponents at this point in time. Okay, he's 17-0 now. Umar is 28 years old, still very, very young, but he's maturing. And you guys know I want to see him taking on Corey Sandhagen. That's a fight that was supposed to happen. That's a fight that makes so much sense. The winner of that is scratching for a title shot, man. The winner of that would be, their stock would be so high. So that's a fight I would love to see. And then we definitely got to talk about Steve Erceg, right? Remember, we talked about this was a tough fight to pick just because Matt Schnell's my boy, follows me on IG. He's cool. He throws little comments out there here and there on the posts and stuff. And, I was really rooting for Matt Schnell. I had no action intertwined in this fight, but you guys know I felt confident that Steve Erceg was going to get the job done. And we talked about the fact that he could very well get a finish here, whether it was by sub or KO. He's a very well-rounded fighter at this point. Not a lot of people realize that his jiu-jitsu is top-notch, but he's going out there and he's using his striking so far in the UFC. Just landed a nasty knockout on Matt Schnell. Did any of you guys catch wind of what the ref said in that fight? It was really weird. The ref walked up to him after the fight, and he was saying, "Oh man," he's like, "I don't know what was worse, the shot you took before you went down or after you went down and you hit your head against the canvas." It was really weird. I don't know what was going on there, but it didn't seem like Matt Schnell and his team was too happy about that. They're kind of looking at him cross-eyed. What's going on here? But Matt Schnell will bounce back. That was a tough fight, man. The UFC's feeding Schnell, to these young and up and coming fighters. It's tough, man. Steve Erceg, he's an absolute stud. He is also 28 years old. We could have went the cheesy route and just matched him up with Makv or something like that, but no. I want to see those guys go their different routes. This division, I talk about it all the time. There's so much young talent coming up right now. I'm loving to see where these fighters go. How these fighters' careers progress. All these youngsters. You guys know I'm very high on Tatsuro Taira, Steve Erceg, Muhammad Makv. The list goes on and on. But how about this? Throw Steve Erceg in there with Tager Ulanbekov. Ulanbekov's been looking really good, just subbed Cody Durden. He defeated Nate Maness before that and did take an L against Tim Elliott before that in a close fight. But I would love to see that fight. Give me Tager Ulanbekov and Steve Erceg. That's another fight where the winner of that fight is going to be really getting some buzz behind them. And that'd be a huge victory for either man for the division there. So that's my main card matchmaking. Eric Anders goes out there. He defeats Jamie Pickett. He loses a round in the mix. And he dug deep there, took the third round. Vinicius Oliveira gets that flying knee knockout over Bernardo. He's actually Albanian. I know that he represents a Swedish flag, but the Albanian. These guys had a lot of animosity going into this fight. And, at the end of the day, man, Vinicius gets the last laugh there. It was a huge victory for him, a UFC debut knockout. All right, guys, here's the fight that we need to talk about. All right, Ayman Sahabi defeats Javid Basharat. And I want to say a little something about this fight. I want to be very clear for those of you guys that follow me. And I've said this in the past, but some of you guys obviously some of you guys, I know the majority of you guys know what we're talking about here. But listen, when we're talking about betting on these fights, you guys have to understand the difference between picking a winner and understanding the betting line and the betting value on these fights, okay? So this fight right here, the betting line made absolutely no sense. All right, I caught Sahabi as high as plus 550. I sent the email out to my team, and we have the bet right up, which you guys can see. This line, you had to throw a little something at this line. And if you guys follow me on IG, I talked a little bit about this, and this is really the truth. I was listening to Billy Walters, right, on the Joe Rogan Experience. He was on there recently, one of the most successful sports bettors of all time. And he talked a little bit about some of the methods that he uses to profit in the game. And I kind of took a little bit away from what he was saying. And I'm as I was breaking down tape on this fight, I'm like, yeah, I like Javid Basharat a lot. I think that he's a very promising fighter, but he hasn't been tested to the highest degree. Aman Sahabi checked off a lot of check marks there, right? He comes in, he's a mature fighter. He's an older dude. He's fought some decent talent. His brother is one of the best coaches in the world. He trains with some of the best of them. And it was definitely, there was definitely a high possibility he could have came in there and had this fight play out closely. That's exactly what he did. And if you're catching plus 500, plus 550, how do you not throw a little unit at that? Okay. And anyone saying this was a robbery, I disagree. If you go on ShareDog and you see what with the writers, what they thought about it. All three writers had it just how I had it as well. Round 1, I did give to Basharat. Round 2 to Sahabi. Round 3 to Sahabi. Go check online. Go look at what the pros were saying, the people that are actually paying attention and really scoring these fights here, people that you could actually, you can actually take their word for, right? I mean, these guys have respectable resumes. The masses were in agreement that Sahabi took rounds 2 and 3. Okay, it was a close fight. But when you're getting that type of value, I was all over it. Okay, so you're going to see that a little bit time and time again from me here now moving forward, because I am going to start targeting some of these dogs like that if the line is so stretched out. But we'll talk about that. When I'm doing the breakdowns, I will say I'm edging. I got Basharat to win this fight, right? Basharat's a stud. I think he should go out here and get the W, right? But then we take a look at the betting line, and I'm like, hey, this betting line's not making a lot of sense. There's value on the underdog here. Okay, so don't be surprised when you see that those are official plays and they're locked in, right? And then we're talking about winning or losing in these recaps. Okay, guys. So just please understand that. All right, guys. And you guys got to be doing the same thing. You got to be targeting value. That's how you profit long term. You got to get your value, and you got to chip up, man. Right. So that was huge for me right there. So took in 5 units of profit. Like I said, I also caught it as high as plus 550. Christian Leroy Duncan gets that finish in the second round over Claudio Ribeiro. CLD, big win for him. He's just a more refined striker. That was a good victory for him there. And you guys know we thought CLD would have handled business, and that's what he did. Loaded Klein finishes AJ Cunningham. That fight was matched up last minute. AJ Cunningham, a fighter that fought on Dana White's Contender Series. He's not really a UFC caliber fighter in my opinion, and he's lucky he got another opportunity. You saw him at the stare downs, the weigh-ins. He looked like a fish out of water a little bit. I kind of felt for the guy, but he kept his game face and he tried his best out there. We remember he was finished by Stephen Wynn on the Contender Series, and he's had a couple of questionable losses throughout his career. We know Ludovic Klein is really streaking right now, and he's a little bit of a different breed than a guy like AJ Cunningham. And then this one I was kicking myself about a little bit. You guys could run the tape back. I feel I should have stuck to my gut with the Rashabov pick over El Salwadi. I was really close to pulling the trigger on it. El Salwadi has looked good, but hasn't really been tested against the highest level of competition. But I like the volume that he puts in the feet. He's a tough dude, and I thought that he could have out-volumed Loic in this fight. But we did talk about the fact that Loic throws some big shots. We talked about this, guys. Run the tape back. Loic puts a lot into his shots now. It's kind of telegraphed. Throws a lot of heavy overhands and stuff like that. And he caught him with the right hook. But El Salwadi is a fighter that's been knocked out a couple times. And we talked about that. And this was a very realistic possibility. And I think it was 1-1. I had it 1-1 going into the third round before the knockout. It was a good fight. And should have stuck with my gut there. But it doesn't matter. No action was on that fight. All right, guys. So I hope you guys all did well on this event. We profit roughly 5 units. It's another event that we profit on. You guys, that's what it's all about. Taking these profits from every card, and then we move it forward, and we just keep this ball rolling down the mountain. Okay, so I'm feeling good right now. Had a little bit of a long weekend, and shout out to everyone that's following me on IG. You guys saw me at the beach, kind of living it up a little bit, but had the fights early on my phone. Came back to the house, watched some of the fights on the big screen there, and it was a good one. So hopefully you guys all profited too. Let me know what you guys did as for this card. Where did you guys profit? Where did you lose? How did you guys do overall in the card? I would like to hear that. And go check out my UFC 299 prediction video, which I just want to say this as well. We're going to be doing a new thing here for these bigger cards, and maybe all these cards, but for the bigger cards for sure, we're going to be doing 2 separate videos. There's going to be another video that comes out during the week after the prediction video where we specifically talk about props and specific method of victory type of bets. We target all those types of prop bets, and we analyze those betting lines. All right, so hopefully you guys like that as well. All right, guys. What else can we say? Monday morning, man.
Welcome to the show. This is the MMA fortune teller. Yeah.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.